Alright, this is the finding angles using SohcahToa video. Alright, just like in the last video, to find sine, cosine, and tangent of the given angles below, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and that's why we call that ca. Adjacent over hypotenuse. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, and that's why we call that so. And tangent is opposite over adjacent, and that's why we call that toa. Okay, so in this particular example, okay, for angle C, which is what they're all using, this is angle C. Opposite angle C would be 3. That would be the opposite side. Adjacent would be 4, is right next to it, and the hypotenuse, which is across from the right angle, would be 5. Okay, so just using SohcahToa, they figured out what the fractions were. Okay, we're going to use those fractions today to actually figure out what angle C is. In the previous video, you were given the angle and one side, and you used that information to find another missing side. Now we're going to use two given sides and find the missing angle. Alright, so in this example, okay, we are trying to find angle C. So I'm going to label my triangle according to angle C. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so across from angle C, opposite it, would be 5, so that's opposite. The hypotenuse is across from the right angle, and this side that isn't labeled would be right next to C, so that's adjacent. Okay, so just like in the last video, okay, you are going to use 5 and 13 because those are the two numbers that I have. So O and H would be sine. Okay, so we're going to set up our fraction similar to the last video. So sine, but in this case we don't have angle C, so we don't have a number to plug in there, so you're just going to put in a C because that's what's missing. Opposite side would be 5, the hypotenuse would be 13. Okay? Now, in order to find sine, or to find C, you need to move sine. So, the way that you do this technically is you divide by sine. When you divide over here by sine, that's really the same as using sine to the -1. So you're really taking sine to the -1 of 5/13. Okay? So in the calculator, okay, you are going to hit the second button and then the sine button. If you look above the sine button, it says sine to the -1. Okay, so if you hit second sine and then 5 divided by 13 equals, in the calculator it will look like this, except without that closed parenthesis unless you close it yourself. Okay, so if you hit second sine, this little negative sign will pop up. Okay, it will open a parenthesis, and then 5 divided by 13 equals, and that will give you your answer. Okay, that will tell you what the angle measure is. So this angle, angle C, in the calculator, it says that it is 22.619866495. Okay, so round to whatever you're told to round to. If you're rounding to the whole number, that's fine. If I tell you to round to one decimal place, that's fine. Okay, in this case, I'm just going to round to one decimal place. Okay, so that means that angle C is 22.6 degrees. Okay. Alright, example 2. We are solving for B here. Angle B. Okay, So across from angle B is 8, that would be opposite, and 10 is across from the right angle, so that would be the hypotenuse. Okay, so we are going to be using sine again. Okay, for opposite and hypotenuse. So sine of B is what's missing, we don't know what that is opposite, which is 8, over hypotenuse, which is 10. Okay, again, to get rid of the sine, I'm going to hit the second and the sine button. If you look above the sine button looks like sine with a -1. Okay? And then put in 8, divide by 10. So hit second sine, 8 divide by 10 equals, again in the calculator you don't have to close this parenthesis. Okay, you can, but you don't have to. Okay, so if you hit second sine, 8 divided by 10 equals, you get 53.13010235. So again, round to whatever you're told to. Okay, I'm going to round to 1 decimal place for now. Okay, so we're going to have 53.1. Okay, so very similar to last week, but the last video you had an angle and one side and you were solving for the other side. Now I have 2 sides and I can use that and the second sine button to find the missing angle. Alright, this says I'm solving for B, so I'm going to label my triangle according to angle B. So this would be opposite. It's across, 24 is across the triangle, and 7 is adjacent. This side over here that we're not going to be using is the hypotenuse. Okay, so I'm going to use 7 and 24. So in this case, I'm going to be using TOA for opposite and adjacent. Okay, so tangent of B, which I don't have, is opposite, 24, divide by adjacent, which is 7. So again, come over to your calculator and hit second. Tangent, in this case, and again above the tangent you will see this tangent to the -1. Okay, and then 24 divided by 7. Okay, so second tangent, 24 divided by 7 equals, you should get 73.73979529. So we're going to round to 1 decimal place, round to whatever I tell you to at the time. Okay, so in this case, 73.7. Okay, the 3 means the 7 stays a 7. Alright, this one says we're finding angle C, so I'm going to label the triangle according to angle C. So this side would be opposite, this side would be the hypotenuse. So in that case we're going to use SO, which would be sine. So sine of angle C equals opposite, which is 14, over hypotenuse, which is 50. Again, come over to your calculator and hit second and the sine button. So that will leave us with C equals the inverse sine, and that's what that's called with a little -1. And then 14 divided by 50. So in your calculator, hit second, sine, 14 divided by 50, and your calculator should look like this. Okay, equals, okay, and you will get 16.26020471. We're going to round to 1 decimal place, so that actually gets round up to 16.3. The 6 is next to the 2, and the 6 will round the 2 up to a 3.